while we consider that, and before I continue this, I have one last small question. What age would you say nowadays it takes to become a veteran weeb versus a weeblet? What age do they mature? And does it matter from male to female?
Oh yeah,
or
that's
the other
another
generation?
question.
Okay.
Male and there seems to be a distinction that if a female were to even watch or even reference a moment of an anime character, they would either be instantly welcomed into the weeb community or they would be immediately shunned and questioned with doubt. Like you see, like there's this hot nerdy chick that's going across the store with an anime shirt, and then you would imagine some veteran weeb might like to test their prowess and dominance in the food chain and might quiz them on their knowledge, to where this may seem offensive to someone who has respectfully gained their credentials within the weebology developments,
I heard
they
that
seem
this...
to be treated as lesser beings, which is more socio-political stuff, which is more of a actual science degree rather than ours.
I heard this practice is usually used as a ritual to nominate the queen weeblet to become the veteran. I heard.
Yeah, there is. I think this has more to do with the waifu detection gland having more of those misfires, as they seem to find traits that they have distinguished from their deep dive lives of anime and manga, and somehow those traits have transferred over to their waifu detection glands that they see in their outside environment.
I see. Okay, let us continue.
But back to the question with the age, as I know you asked that one.
Yes.
Back in the day, it used to be how much you watched and how long you were a part of the weeb culture per se, as it was measured in years. Whereas nowadays, I think the world has the trend has shifted from a more years involved in the industry to more hours worked or episodes watched per
experience versus just being on the job.
Of course.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I really need to know that. Thank you. All right, let us.
I'm no expert. I'm more
let
of
us
a
keep
weeb.
going.
In the name,
You're
it
a weeb.
stops the brain from allowing.
Yes.
Bam.
Oh my.
I am a weeb.
All right. Anyway.
Allowing a person to spend all their money on useless anime merch. But as you can see here in the weeaboo brain, unlike a normal person's brain, very tiny, very small, very not large enough to successfully inhibit the merch buying. So we'll be going over that. Last week I assigned some homework to send me your favorite shonen anime character. This is a common tactic, what I did, to identify a weeaboo. And what am I talking about? I asked them to submit what is their favorite shonen anime character. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what that even means.
Now, can we call him a professor of this study if he does not know the meaning of the word?
Oh, yes.
This is just
a professor. He
Gotcha.
could be a professor in something and not know every single study. Just
There's a danger. There's a danger in weeaboo studies where, more than not, in by studying it in depth, you actually run a risk of becoming one yourself.
That too.
As such, many of the greater professors have to maintain a professional distance.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, so it's for safety reasons, even.
Well,
Yes.
as for me, as I was self-taught in weebology and have become converted into a full-fledged veteran weeb. It was a lifelong dedication of study to a wide range of fields. His specialty might not even be in shonen or in shoujo or even isekai, if you will, which is a new developing field of study that has blown up like cloud computing for nerd speak.
Thank you for translating.
Another person who watching another class. Take a seat.
Oh, please sit down.
I have brought in a my colleague who is a well-vested professional in the certain specialty subfields in weebology, particularly in the Digimon and card game variety.
Indeed.
Sub-schema of human psychology.
Would you?
But they're more cousins as opposed to, say, biological or even chronological brothers in terms of evolutionary development.
So I want to know on a scale of a percentage-wise, how Americanized do you think the word weeaboo has become?
Over the past 20 years or 30 years?
Since the year 2000. How about that?
Okay, so the past
It is-
20.
Past 20.
Yeah, it's definitely we use it more.
We use it more.
Yeah. I'd
Percentage
say it
wise,
was primarily a Western term used.
Yeah.
Kylie.
I'd say primarily Western. I have heard of instances of in the Eastern Sphere them using it against each other, but more often than not, it's a Western term.
Then
Funnily enough, it's actually just as an inverse phenomena as Western weebs, to where in the Eastern Sphere it is just someone who is obsessed with Western culture.
You mean a
Specifically
Yankee.
American culture in a lot of aspects, as where Americans are obsessed in Japanese culture specifically.
Yes, I've been told that there is a general, a very interesting back and forth when it comes to obsession between these two cultures.
There is a balance in nature.
Anyway, sorry.
All I know is that's how you identify a weeaboo. You see here, let me just quickly scroll through this. The weeaboo is unable to stop themselves. JRR Tolkien levels of exposition about their favorite anime character. A classic trap, a classic method to get the weeaboos to simply out themselves. These are cartoons for children. And if your response was not indicative of one that a child would give, you're overthinking it.
Damn.
That's the question I want to give. Do you think people overthink their waifus and like their favorite
100%.
Characters?
100%.
Yes, but also on another note, a good TV show is capable of running a deeper theme, which can be picked up by any adult figure that has to watch it with the child.
Indeed.
That's why they always have to throw in a few jokes for the parents in a kids show.
Indeed.
Professor Ham?
I am a child of divorce.
Jeez.
I'm so sorry.
We can't take his anxiety meds for a little bit, so. But also.
I've expressed this.
Sorry, continue.
Y'all are at
No,
20% right now.
He's given 110.
25.
Dusty,
Gives you an
do
idea.
you feel you have passed the vibe check?
I'm not here. But to answer the question that was posed towards me, I'll use Digimon as an example because I am not functionally thinking, and that's the only thing I really know concretely.
Yes, it is your specialty.
It is you're very aware.
Digimon actually has, the first series at least, has a lot of like not adult but just like representable ideas. Like literally Izzy, the smart kid, was a child of he was adopted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There was the one of the main characters named Matt and TK. They are brothers and are also children of divorce. One understands divorce, the other one is 4 years old. You can understand that's bad. And then just other stuff like that. One actually is trying to become a doctor in the whole family. It's very understandable. So you can have like big ideas. It's just not everybody's gonna think it's okay. I'm gonna go back in my hole now.
No, thank you for everything. Man,
Thank you
that
for
was a very-
emerging,
that was a
even
very
briefly, Professor
insightful-
Yeah,
Ham.
no, thank you. That was awesome.
Yes. And that's also true. Those are hefty topics that, a lot of shows, as this professor with his clear bias, as he states, just for kids, would assume that there's also some very serious topics that could be well presented for any age to understand or
Indeed.
convey.
That being said, I would like to mention that the definition of shonen is the fact it does mention the fact that it is anime aimed primarily at a young male audience.
As where shoujo is, shoujo anime is geared primarily towards a female audience.
Yes. That being said, continue.
All right, making sure.
This isn't crime and punishment. This isn't Kafka's Metamorphosis. You're talking about Dragon Ball, bro. It's not that deep. However, there was a submission I was very interested in. I'm really looking forward to this. Okay,
no.
so this is a homework submission from Robert.
Now, I've
Robert.
actually talked to Robert over this, and he this was at a time in Robert's life when he was going to Ligma U, and said that this was one of his favorite classes.
Wasn't he a transfer from Sugma as well?
He was also a transfer from Sugma. At Sugma, I believe he was actually getting in trouble over curfew and things like that. Meanwhile, and got suspended. Meanwhile, at his stay at Ligma for his first 2 years here, he's gotten in no kinds of trouble and has claimed that Ligma has helped him focus and has even raised his grades.
Must have been the Sugma frat boys.
But he's now an esteemed colleague of ours, but he's not here right now. We'll get to this.
Oh,
Fine.
What was
I
his
appreciate
assignment?
the extra mile on these homework assignments. So I've not seen this beforehand.
Hello, class. Class is this? Anime 101. In today's assignment is to discuss my favorite shonen anime character. Yeah. Today I'll be discussing hold on. Yeah, Vash the Stampede, aka Vash. I think he's really cool. He's kind of goofy. He's kind of like, he likes peace, but he also likes guns, which I think is really cool. He's also wearing red, which is like one of my favorite colors, which I like.
I feel called out.
I really like, and I think it's really cool. Also, another reason why I really like him is because he solos your verse. I mean, like, there's not really much else to put it. I mean, like, I got like, All Might here, and then Vash here, and then Vash can usually just, like, shoot All Might, and then, All Might's dead. It's that easy. There's, like, not really much to it. And then finally we have, nope, ignore that. That's it. Hope you enjoyed my discussion, and hope I convinced you why you should be your favorite character in Shonen also. Hope you guys have a good day.
Now, thoughts before we listen to our colleague's opinion.
Bold assumption for him to get into the interdimensional battle debate. But yes, as he points out, Vash does indeed solo.
Kylie, you being from the outside, how cool do you think Vash is now?
the fact that he wears red is pretty like far towards coolness factor in most under a good portion of.
I was gonna compliment
studies.
his red coat. Damn it!
It's a great coat.
It's a great coat.
Hey!
Please go
As
ahead.
in science, it is always good to run a double study.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
The knowledge of liking peace is rather interesting, considering it being paired with guns, as the chat I saw was putting. Also, I'd like to point out that the professor did look somewhat distressed during that with us during that entire
I do believe we
presentation.
saw a smile once, though. Maybe just once.
A couple smiles, an occasional. It was possibly the precursor to a laugh, and I'm not sure.
To quote Johnny Bravo, I'm sickened yet curious.
Professor Scoot, if you would, how cool do you think Vash is? Riveting.
He's muted. He's muted.
Riveting.
No comment, I hear.
No comment.
Dr.
Understood.
Ham, any word on Vash?
He's okay.
He's
Did you get
okay.
your doctorate in the, while you were while
Yes,
we were
of
in
course,
this?
yes.
He wasn't. Yeah, he got his doctorate
got his
in between that homework submission. It's very impressive.
Wow.
He's okay.
All right, thank you. Okay, make it sure.
He worked very hard to get that doctorate.
One being who I did not recognize who Vash was actually, so I think he is pretty cool. Admittedly, the notion of peace, as you said, is a little controversial with the gun, but we're moving towards a more liberal gun policy, I believe, in the states, over in the states. So
to bring up a also modern example, Deku loves being strong, yet he breaks every single bone in his body every episode.
Oh, that's right. And who could forget that Bakugo is literally just a fucking gun? Sorry,
Yes.
That was something.
He's
else.
a gun that backfires.
That was quite unscholarly. Please forgive me. I'll put myself in like a 2-minute timeout for myself. Are we ready to hear our
Yes. 2-minute timeout. Let's go.
2-minute timeout. Go ahead.
Very, very good job. It's about the extra mile. I love that. Very good job. C+. Where we're going to end the class today is a matter of taste. The bell curve, aka the normal distribution, is the aggregate plotting of everyone's taste in anime. Okay, so here we have garbage. This is meh, and this is the good shit right here. So here on this end of the spectrum, we have World Trigger. Here we have My Hero Academia. Here we have Nichijou, My Ordinary Life. What are the consequences here? The good stuff, the good shows, the good animes, the good opinions will always be a minority. The industry will largely cater to the most common type of consumer, which lies at the top of this distribution, this bell curve of taste. And of course, the garbage stuff like World Trigger over on this side. Why did KyoAni's Nichijou perform so poorly that they did not even make a net profit? There's like, how many seasons are there even? And movies? It's okay. And that's the thing to understand about the bell curve. It's not bad. It's meh. I was tempted to put Dragon Ball Super here, but I thought about it a little bit, and I actually think that Dragon Ball is, like I said, My Hero is a good example because it's meh. It's not bad, but it ain't good either. But Dragon Ball Super is bad. That's just like really garbage. There are minority cases. Who likes World Trigger? Garbage. But a lot of people like Dragon Ball Super. This is something that we're trying to understand why the curve for Dragon Ball Super works in this way. Thank you so much.
So that's it.
Yeah. There's a lot to be desired, but that would be probably discussed in the next chapter.
In the graph that we want to talk about? If not, I'm still on my 2 minutes. So.
Well, when it comes to the bell curve, I would say that the majority of animes I have heard of are probably from the meh category.
As it's the most common on the bell curve.
Yes.
I'm just glad you've had some of the good shit as well.
Good shit is, in fact, as niche as the overly garbage stuff. However, they do pander to the garbage stuff as well because, overly negative, positive press will just lead to more discussion and therefore more circulation.
And good shit isn't always as niche as well. I mean, FMA Brotherhood, I would put in the good shit as well.
Yes, but I'd say it's more on the upper end of the bell curve between meh and good shit.
Yes, but
perhaps in the 21th percentile.
I agree there. I do see that there can be good shit that is a little more popular, even though
as we see there seems to be a half wave shift.
Yes.
To the right when it comes to the Dragon Ball bell curve, assuming the professor actually finishes the bell curve, and that's not just a really bad way of saying that Dragon Ball Super also falls under good shit, despite he said it was garbage.
No, I believe that is him showing that there was it falls under garbage, but there is a large audience.
Yes.
So yeah, the skew, there is a skew.
Yes.
There is a skew.
Watching today's lecture. Don't forget that I do these lectures live on Twitch every Monday at 5 p.m. PST. Links down below. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And leave a comment on what you thought. Thank you.
This was very good.
Very astute. And
yes. Now the professor has other media as well.
I see two thumbnails. And